Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a story that's shaking the geopolitical map of Europe, and it's not good news for Moscow. Vladimir Putin is facing a serious problem as Denmark has made a bold move that could choke one of Russia's most crucial trade and military lifelines in the Baltic Sea. This decision isn't just symbolic. It strikes right at the heart of Russia's access to the West, and the consequences could ripple across Europe for years to come. The Baltic Sea has long been a vital artery for Russia's economy and navy. Through it, Russian oil, gas, and goods make their way to global markets, and its warships patrol the waters connecting St. Petersburg and Kaliningrad. But that sea route has now become a geopolitical battleground. Denmark's latest decision to restrict Russian naval and shipping activities and to tighten control over its territorial waters and key shipping lanes represents one of the most significant moves by a European country against Russia since the invasion of Ukraine began. This is not an isolated act of defiance. Denmark's government, in close coordination with NATO and the European Union, has been increasingly vocal about Russian aggression in the region, from cyber attacks to suspected sabotage operations under the Baltic Sea. The country has been strengthening its military presence around critical choke points, including the Danish Straits, which connect the Baltic Sea to the North Sea. These straits are so vital that any restriction there can effectively trap Russian ships inside the Baltic, cutting off their route to the Atlantic. What Denmark has done now is essentially turn those waters into a controlled gate, one that Russia no longer has free access to. For Moscow, this is a nightmare scenario. The Baltic Fleet, one of Russia's oldest and most prestigious naval forces, is now partially boxed in. Its movements are being monitored, its shipping is being scrutinized, and its influence in Northern Europe is shrinking fast. The situation became more tense after multiple incidents of sabotage and intelligence activity in the Baltic. The Nord Stream pipeline explosions were a turning point. Since then, Denmark and its allies have treated the underwater infrastructure cables, pipelines, and data lines as national security assets. When evidence emerged that Russian research vessels had been mapping these routes under suspicious circumstances, Copenhagen decided enough was enough. This latest move to cut off Russia's Baltic Sea lifeline isn't just military, it's deeply economic. Nearly 15% of Russia's maritime trade once passed through those waters. Now, cargo ships face more inspections, restricted passage, and in some cases, outright denial of entry if linked to Russian entities. For a country already suffering under Western sanctions, this is a devastating blow. Russia's response has been predictably aggressive in tone. Moscow accused Denmark of provocative and hostile actions, claiming it violates international maritime law. Russian officials hinted that retaliatory measures could follow, including military redeployments or energy supply cuts. But in reality, Russia's options are limited. Its Baltic access points are geographically constrained, and any attempt to challenge Denmark's control would likely trigger a NATO response. Behind closed doors, European diplomats see Denmark's move as a strategic masterstroke. By tightening control over the Danish Straits, Europe has created a natural barrier that limits Russia's reach without direct confrontation. It's a way of applying pressure without firing a single shot, and it shows how smaller nations can have outsized influence in modern geopolitics. At the same time, this decision reflects a broader shift in Europe's mindset. Countries that once hesitated to antagonize Moscow are now actively reshaping their policies to contain it. From Finland joining NATO to Sweden ramping up defense spending, the Baltic region is fortifying itself. Denmark's decision fits perfectly into this new posture of deterrence, one that sends a clear message: the era of Russian dominance in the Baltic is over. But this also raises concerns about escalation. Russia has long considered the Baltic Sea essential to its security. With Kaliningrad isolated and surrounded by NATO countries, the Kremlin may view Denmark's actions as part of a larger Western attempt to encircle and weaken it. Military analysts warn that increased Russian military exercises or aerial incursions could follow. The potential for miscalculation is high, and the region's stability is being tested like never before. For the Danish government, however, the risks are worth it. Their defense minister recently emphasized that safeguarding Baltic security means ensuring freedom of navigation for everyone except those who threaten it. That's a clear jab at Moscow. Denmark's move is also designed to reassure its neighbors, especially the Baltic states, that NATO's northern flank is being reinforced. Economically, the pressure is mounting on Russia. The country has already lost access to much of Europe's energy market, and now its remaining maritime trade routes are tightening. Shipping insurers are pulling back, freight rates are soaring, and Western companies are distancing themselves even further. For Russia's already fragile economy, this could mean more inflation, fewer exports, and greater isolation. The symbolism of this moment cannot be understated. Just a few years ago, Russia wielded enormous leverage in the region. Its energy supplies powered European industries, its ships patrolled freely, and its influence reached deep into European politics. Now, with every passing month, that influence is being rolled back. Denmark's stand is both a reflection of that shift and a catalyst for even greater change. Meanwhile, ordinary Russians are starting to feel the consequences. Shipping delays, fuel shortages in some regions, and rising costs are part of a growing sense that the special military operation has turned into an economic disaster. The Kremlin may continue to project strength, but beneath the surface, pressure is building. The loss of control over the Baltic Sea is more than a tactical setback, it's a strategic wound. Denmark's move also underscores how geography and politics are inseparable. The narrow Danish straits, just a few dozen kilometers wide, have become the front line in Europe's quiet confrontation with Moscow. Control those waters, and you control Russia's window to the world. For Putin, who built much of his power on projecting Russian strength abroad, being boxed in like this is deeply humiliating. As the world watches, one thing is clear: the Baltic is no longer a safe passage for Russia. Denmark, backed by NATO, has turned it into a barrier, a symbol of Europe's newfound unity against aggression. And with every restriction, every inspection, and every naval patrol, the walls around Putin's ambitions grow tighter. So while this may seem like just another diplomatic maneuver, it represents a pivotal shift in Europe's balance of power. The message to Moscow is unmistakable: Europe is done playing defense. From now on, it's containment and deterrence, executed with precision and purpose. And that's why, for Putin, this is more than just trouble. It's a warning that his influence, once thought unshakable, is slipping away faster than ever. Thanks for watching, and if you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more updates on global conflicts and power shifts, and share your thoughts in the comments below.